Welcome back to the Fempreneur Marketing Podcast. I have three guests joining me today. They are the other three beautiful speakers that will be with me at the FEMTALKS conference in Calgary on January 20th. This is the first time we have held a live in-person conference. The last two have both been virtual. So we are pumped. We have awesome door prizes, refreshments. We each have awesome talks prepared, and we're giving copies of our books to every attendee. The ticket cost is only $49. So there's well over $300 of value there. We are also doing an after party at Trolley 5, and the lovely folks at Trolley 5 are giving all of our ticket holders a free drink. So much value and so much fun. I can't even wait. Like, I'm so excited. So let's get into the interview so you can meet these other speakers. If you don't know Shannon, Tiana, and Dina, you are in for a treat. These are amazing fempreneurs who all got their books completed in 2022, and their books are the foundation for their Fem Talks. So let's dive in.
So Tiana, will you tell us how you became a fempreneur, how you started your business, and why you started your business?
Sure. Well, and thanks for having me on with you this morning, Lindsay. So I started my business kind of by accident, as this sometimes happens. My background is in education. Hi, Shannon. And I've been doing a number of different sort of education teacher related things for a long time now. And I kept having people reach out to me to help them with their online courses or with their training programs or with their workshops or webinars. And so this one woman reached out to me who was an accountant and wanted to hire me to help her with her course. And I thought, I better get my ducks in a row and get a business number and make this official, as she is an accountant. And then my consulting business was born. So it's I've done some consulting work for other companies, but not under my own business in the past. So I've had Tiana Fesh Consulting now for a year and a half.
Awesome. Awesome. I love how these businesses sometimes just sprout out of a need that others have that we can fill. And I know for Shannon, you have a very similar story. But Shannon, do you want to introduce yourself? Tell us a little bit about your business and why you started your business.
I'm Shannon from Shannon Designs, Embroidery and Promotions. I started my business back in 2002, so I just hit my 20-year mark in July. My business started out of my love of creating and crafting, and my love language is giving gifts, especially when they're homemade, and it just kind of grew from that. It grew from I need to support my habit of crafting and seeing the need for branded, swag and promo. And swag is stuff we all get, and that can go from toques to ball caps to t-shirts to you name it, whatever we can put a logo on. So that's kind of how I started. And then COVID, like a lot of people, just made me pivot and start looking at different ways to, kind of serve my community and let them know that I was still here. So that's when I found YYC Fempreneurs and started on my long needed marketing journey and just learning how to do that. And then, kind of next morphed into writing the book about how to build your brand. And yeah, so that's me.
That's awesome. Kind of share with all the fempreneurs watching this and listening to it on the podcast how we came up with the idea to do this event. I think it was Dina that started it. She's not here yet. She's joining us soon. But she kind of planted the seed because she asked me about the first ever Fempreneurs conference and kind of what it took to get that going. That was definitely numbers wise, and it grew the YYC Fempreneurs email list by over 180 fempreneurs. Not all of those women ended up showing up to the conference because there was a period of time where tickets were free because it was a virtual conference. But then we still ended up having, I think it was close to 80 women that kind of dropped in and out because it was over 4 days. We had 31 speakers, and it was a huge success, and it was really exciting. And we actually got some media coverage on CTV, and all sorts of really cool things fell into place. And so Dina was kind of like, well, how did you do that? And I was kind of just sharing with her some of the stuff. And I said, well, why don't we do something in person? Like, we can do that again, you know? And I had been to an event years ago at the ATB Entrepreneur Center on 17th Ave. And I bank with ATB, so I checked into it as a venue, and it worked. And in the meantime, I had engaged both of you because you, like Dina, wrote books in 2022. So tell us a little bit about your book writing journey and how the content in your book is going to be, you know, tying in with what you're going to be talking about at the FEMTALKS conference. Tiana, do you want to go first?
Sure. All right. So yes, the idea of writing a book kind of was in the back of my mind for a while. And so when I saw that Lindsay had an opportunity to provide guidance and support and expertise on how to do this, and then also, hi Tina, the group support and the community to provide that accountability and encouragement and ideas as well, I thought, okay, this is probably the time. So with the help of Lindsay and the YYC Fempreneurs community, my book came out into the world in June of this year. And it's all about online course development 101. So it's like a step-by-step guide to creating your first online course, which is something that a lot of small business owners ask me questions about all the time. And it's a large part of the work that I do, businesses in my business. So at the conference, I will be obviously not walking everyone through the entire process of how to create an online course, but I'm going to be talking about the piece that's really fundamental to my approach, which is all about teaching your people. So as a teacher, as a university and sessional instructor, like all the different educational roles that I've had, including my new one at SAIT that I'm very excited about, all the work that I do is all about building relationships, because a learning experience is so much more than the learning experience itself. It can have impact beyond that. It can really facilitate the building of community and connection, and really teach people some amazing skills and knowledge that they can apply in amazing ways after the course itself. So I'm going to talk about that approach and provide some specific tools and things to try that you could use for a course, workshop, webinar, podcast episode, blog post, anything at all that will really help you structure any sort of learning experience to build those relationships with your people and also really make that lasting impact.
Awesome. Thanks, Tiana. Yeah, I love the way you really emphasize. I think a lot of people get frozen with the tech side of building an online course, but really it's so much more than that. That's like secondary to, like you said, the relationship building piece that has to be present. Like, you have a story that I know you included in your book and you tell it all the time. And it's about a teacher that you had, and we all had a teacher that really made us feel seen, really made us feel cared for. We don't even necessarily remember any of the lesson material they taught us, but we remember those moments when they were really paying attention to us and making sure that we had what we needed, that relationship piece. I love that about your book, is it talks about how to build course material that is going to pull the people into a relationship with you. And that's so unique, I think. So thank you for all the hard work you did building your book. And I know you were definitely, you encouraged a lot of other women, I think, to kind of stop making excuses and put their knowledge into a book. I know I've heard in my circle just some women who kind of watched your journey and were like, oh, so Tiana and Shannon and Dina did it. I think maybe I can do it too. So it was really cool to be able to watch it happen and to get to, you know, read the book before it came out. So and I'm really pumped that you said yes to this FemTalks thing, and that you're going to be teaching one of the FemTalks or presenting, I guess, kind of like mini workshops. But I think I can't remember whose idea it was to do the 18-minute style TED Talk thing, but I thought that was so brilliant. And then Dina took the bull by the horns with designing the visual brand for the conference. So thank you, Dina. It's so awesome. And yeah, Dina, you've joined us late. So Shannon, we'll come back to you with your story about your book. We'll get Dina caught up here. Dina, will you introduce yourself to everyone and tell us a little bit about, how your business began and what your business is?
Sure. Thank you. This is fun. And it's going to be a really fun conference. I can't wait to just meet all the ladies that show up and be able to see how they light up when they hear what each of us shares, because it's all unique, but yet it's very empowering and it's going to help build their businesses and their confidence. I think that's the biggest thing. That's kind of where my piece comes in as well, just to really support everything you guys bring forth that's technical or brand building, whatever it is. And then I've kind of got the piece on the mindset and confidence building, that empowerment to really just be brave, get out there and go forward. So I have done a lot of different things. And when I met Lindsay, I was just all over the place. Multi-passionate is a really nice way of saying it. But she recognized in me that writing was probably where everything pointed towards writing. And I built a blog and a website and just started going for it. And then when she said that she was going to try doing this leadership conference in the middle of a pandemic, and we can do it, and it just grew and grew into, like she said, 4 days, and I was thrilled to be a part of it. And I really wasn't sure which of my interests and skills I wanted to share. And when I really focused in, it was that mindset coaching and the empowerment coaching was really where my passion lies. And so I built out a presentation, like our mini workshop at this conference. And from that became the backbone then of some of the books that I've written. And I've got the copies. This one is available in 2 covers. Oh, you've got it. Good job, Linz. And then a companion journal to go along with that too, and support people in the growth. And so it's titled "I Can Make Shit Happen: Creating What I Want Most," and just encouraging people not to give up. You hit a little wall, or there's a bump in the road, or you think you're too old or not smart enough or whatever. That imposter syndrome really. I've struggled with it. I still do at times. And from anything I've heard, even very successful people, whether it's in business or athletics or whatever, they all struggle with that. So we're not immune, but knowing that we're not alone in it, and that there are tools to, just to get past that and work around it and have the support of other people is incredible. So the community you've built, Lindsay, is amazing. I've met these other 2 beauties there and numerous others. So really excited to welcome anybody else who is able to join us for our FEMTALKS. And I'm going to put it out here again, Lindsay. I think this needs to become a regular event.
Yes, definitely. I think, we did the first one in 2020. Right? And then we did one last year, which we did, it was a little smaller. It was still a full day though. Tiana, you were part of that. Shannon, you were too.
Was I?
Weren't you? It was kind of to wrap up the 90-day leadership and marketing program, right? We kind of did it. Anyways, it was good. But this one, I'm just so pumped that it's live. We get to come together in person. We have a great venue. Some people are going to join us for a little after party down the road on 17th Ave at Blanco Cantina. Ticket sales have been really strong. I'm really excited. And I was saying before you hopped on, Dina, like the price of these 4 books together is over $100, and they're getting hard copies of all 4 of these books to take with them, and the ticket price is only $49, and it includes refreshments and includes door prizes. And so it's a really, really awesome value for what you're going to get. And we're going to do our classic famous speed dating too. So we're actually going to have those one-on-one speed dates. I've factored 7 rounds into the schedule, but we'll wing it. We'll do what we can. And it's going to be awesome. So And I love, Dina, that you're going to be there with, because before we move on to Shannon, I have a question for you, Dina, because I know you talk to a lot of women about the things that are holding them back, because we all have to-do lists. We all have goals. We all have dreams. What would you say is the top 2 or 3 most common things that you hear? What are those things that women say are actually holding them back, or that they perceive as holding them back?
Fear of using their voice and speaking up about what they really think, feel, what they're seeing, their perception of things, because they think there's someone who said it already, or I'm not, an expert. You're an expert. It doesn't matter if someone else has said it before. The way you say it and coming from you and the experiences that you're sharing are unique to you, but they're going to resonate with others who've maybe heard it 4 or 5 times from other people, but it's when they hear it from you that it's important. So I would say they're afraid of using their voice, which ties into not feeling worthy or educated enough, that imposter syndrome. I think those are 2 of the biggest ones, and you probably all have seen this and agree with that it's it's not specific only to women, but I think we tend to struggle with it more. We're more nurturers in whatever way we are, even in our businesses, and serving others is incredible, but we always want to try and make other people shine, and it's really scary to step out in the spotlight yourself and take a stand or say I'm an expert in something. So I think that's some of the biggest part of it. We don't feel that we deserve that spotlight or that what we have to say is important.
Right. I agree. I think that's the most common thing that happens with women is it's, first of all, it's who am I? I mean, Shannon, I know you struggle with this a lot. You're like, who am I to write a book? Like, yeah, I know stuff, but doesn't everybody know stuff? Or aren't there other people that are smarter about this than me? And that's not what it's about. And so once you kind of push past that and realize that you're going to say things in a different way, and that alone is going to change lives, then you've got to get that whole, putting writing time into your calendar, feeling worthy of setting that time aside for yourself and for this goal, right? And sort of saying no to things, and sometimes making others feel like they're not as important to you because you need to focus on this thing. Like, there's a worthiness that is missing in a lot of women. And I love that we've all come together, and just through some of the things we've done, openly, and people used to always bug me, why are you documenting everything in your life? I'm like, because I want to inspire other women to do the things they want to do. It's not about me. It's not about putting the spotlight on myself. It's about being a shining light and hoping that it's going to make others want to do things because they see me doing it. And they're like, well, she can do it. I can do it. Like, that's the goal. That's why we stay active on social media, right, ladies? It's not for us, it's for others. So Shannon, I want to bring it to you now. Talk a little bit about just the book writing process, the aha moments, and then kind of how you're going to tie that into the FEMTALKS.
So I came into this book writing process kind of by, sure, I'll do it, not really thinking the process through. And I did. I had a lot of imposter moments and ahas, and we're all here to build relationships, and because without that relationship, none of us have a business, and none of us meet the people that we're supposed to meet. And so for me, it was everything that you said was, who's going to want to hear what I have to say? Other people have said it, all of that, but what's unique to me is my story and how I got there and how I present it. And the things that are in my brand book are things I teach my clients every day. And I guess I didn't realize that I was teaching. It was just me imparting knowledge, right? I didn't put it as this is a teaching moment. And so a lot of it was my mindset and changing my language. And that translated into the writing process, and that, I want to impart this knowledge in a way that people get it, that I'm not going to talk above or below. I'm going to talk to them, because that's really important, because there's nothing worse than feeling like someone's talking down to you or above you. Like, that's not what I want. So it's just basically, it's just what I teach every day, what I share to my clients about, why you need more than one version of your logo, and how do you want your logo to speak for you? And that comes back to you and the relationships that you want to build with your clients. And they can take that and translate it into their business and their life. So, you know, my whole process over 20 years has just been as much a personal growth journey as it has been about growing my business. And the biggest growth I've seen in my business is when I've taken those risks, stepped out of my comfort zone, and just went, oh my God, here we go. I'm just going to do it. And that's when I've seen the biggest growth. And I want other people to know that it's okay to be scared. It's okay to feel like an imposter. It's okay not to know what you're doing. Just try something. You know, it's like that. We talk about this throwing spaghetti at the wall until it sticks. I've thrown lots of shit at the wall, and not all of it sticks. And when it does stick, that's when I look at it and go, okay, so how can I make it stick better? How can I improve that? So that's just, you know, my book is 4 parts, and it's walking you through whether you have a logo or you don't, and you've just got a concept. And so just kind of, you know, taking that concept and running with it, and what you need to do to make it the best representation of you and your business. So, yeah.
Yeah, and I love that all of you did a really great job of sharing tons of stories. And I had the privilege of being one of the stories in Tiana's book, and just the story of growing YYC Fempreneurs, and even just like the first course that I ever built, which is actually how the community began. I more wanted to teach women about marketing. I didn't really think a lot about how the community would unfold, but it just kind of was a natural progression, and I quickly got good at things like always having a door prize, and figuring out registration systems for events, and figuring out how to send those emails to remind people to come to the events, and all the different things that I got really good at. But it was really cool to be able to share that story in Tiana's book. I didn't warn you guys about this because I kind of just thought of it this morning. But what I'd love is for each of you to grab your books and flip to a page that you could just read for us, and kind of do like pretend we're at chapters. We're doing a book reading, and just read like either the back cover. I know all of you have really awesome stuff on the back cover. Maybe go ahead and just read whatever you want from your book. And when you're ready, you can let me know. I can start to give you time, or are any of you ready already? You know what you're going to read?
Well, I've got my back cover flipped up here.
Yeah, do it. Yeah.
That. I see you. You have dreams that still matter, by the way. Let's dig them up, dust them off, shine them up, and make them happen. Don't you dare give up, girlfriend. You don't have to do this alone. I'm here to show you easy steps to powerful manifesting inside. Simple steps to help you make shit happen in your life. Tons of stories to encourage and inspire you. Journaling prompts and pages to pump up your manifesting power. Ready? Let's go.
Yes. That is awesome. I was reading your book a little more thoroughly. I haven't read it cover to cover. I've just been kind of reading chunks of it at a time, and I love the story about how you grew up on a farm, but you weren't really like you weren't really a kid that really played a lot. Like, can you tell us that story really quick? Or I don't know if you want to read it, or
it's probably too long to read, but the gist of it is that we lose that sense of play. So I really encourage people to get in touch with who they were as a little child, because they were curious, inquisitive, adventurous. You know, they'd try anything, say anything. There's that voice thing. And just that sense of play. Now, for me, I was the oldest of 4 kids. I wasn't forced to do chores, but there was always lots of chores to do. And I wasn't into Barbie dolls. I was the only girl, but I had all these Barbie dolls that my daughter inherited that were pretty much brand new. One I gave a haircut to, but standard. I'm not big into movies. I always want to be factual. I want to, I can't really explain why, but I just didn't really use my imagination and play all that much. And I so admire it when I see it now as an adult. And I really want to get in touch with that. It felt, I guess, you feel kind of vulnerable. You think, if I don't do it right, you know, it's a failure or whatever it is. I'm still trying to explore that a little bit. But I really encourage people to get in touch with that child again. Really be playful, be curious,
Yeah.
be inquisitive. I pushed myself. I was scared. Literally, it was terrifying for me as an adult to consider putting paint to paper, something like that. So
Because it can't be undone, or what was the fear?
Yes, it can't be undone. What if somebody sees it? It's not going to look that great. Well, you're not going to be great right off the top. Now, this is a lesson that's applicable to anything that we do. But I just was terrified to do it. So I took some watercolor paint classes this year and just did it. And it was scary. And that seems so benign, but it really was scary. And I went, oh, I can do this. Like, someone can actually teach me how to do this. And that applies to anything that we want to try. Just because we'll think, oh, I'm too old for that, or somebody's going to think I'm silly. Who the hell cares? Just do it. Try it. If it's something you're curious about, we've just squelched that little child in us. And I so admire when I see kids playing and they have this fantasy. They've made up this whole story and fantasy in their imagination.
Yeah, that's what I wanted you to talk about, was the imagination piece, because I remember you said that's where you discovered manifesting, and you discovered, like, yeah, tell us that story about the imagination piece that was maybe kind of missing from your childhood, and how you've really obviously ramped that up quite a bit.
Well, it's incredible, because you imagine something, and the important thing is to really feel, how am I going to feel? How will it change the way I feel inside? Instead of, we're very familiar with the negative. This isn't going to happen. This isn't going to work. And we repeat. Apparently 60% of everything we repeat in our head every day is the same negative thoughts. That creates negative feelings. That is now going to create a negative reality. Switch the narrative. Change that imagination. Really feel what it is that you want and how that's going to feel when it happens. So imagine it. And a lot of people will do vision boards or suggest vision boards, or maybe just a postcard from Kauai or something. Put it where it can be a conversation piece. Talk about it with people. Share it as if it's going to happen. It's just a given. It's going to happen. So that's imagining to the next level and feeling those feelings. Oh, it's going to feel so amazing under the palm trees, especially today. It's -39 here.
Yeah.
Just, there's so many ways to go about it that doesn't have to be difficult. I think the biggest thing is catching yourself thinking negative thoughts. And once you become aware of how often you're thinking, this can't happen, I want this plan A, but probably just plan B is going to happen. So that's what you're going to get, what you expect. So just expect it's going to happen, and you'll catch those negative thoughts. So imagine, expect, feel the feels, and you're going to bring it. And it might not be the package or the timing you're expecting. You got to be open to that.
Right.
The universe is going to send you what's best for you and everybody else. So it starts with imagining. And so what's really cool is, so here's this. We all see it's tangible. I can touch it. You can drink out of it. Somebody imagined that 200, well, even 100 years ago, 50 years ago, those weren't even a thing. But somebody imagined it, and then they designed and they thought about how it could happen, or they talked to somebody that would know how to build that, and they made it a reality. Every single thing starts from somebody's imagination. So
yeah, absolutely. And I mean, even like designing a logo, very similar. You got to kind of have a vision for it first. And like with Tiana, like, you got to have a vision for what you want these people to leave your course with, like a vision for how they feel and what they've learned and what they can now do that they couldn't before. And yes, Tiana, you have a podcast where you interview other people who are helping other people do things and teach. You're like, it's so awesome, the stuff we can do when we focus on the outcome and not so much how we're going to get there, Thank you for sharing that, Dina. Tiana, do you have your book excerpt ready to read to us?
So I'll read a section from the beginning of my first lesson of my book. So it's called Lesson 1, The Roadmap. And I say, I want to start this lesson with an important disclaimer. Everyone's course creation pathway or roadmap will be unique. There is not one exact tested, tried and true, perfectly curated approach to creating an online course. However, there are key elements. Developing an online course involves making a series of important decisions, like a choose your own adventure book, and I'm here to guide you on that journey. This approach will give you a structure to follow, but it won't be prescriptive. This will allow you to optimize the learning experience you're creating to align with who you are as a facilitator of learning, your secret sauce, and the community of learners that you are creating your course for. Do you want me to keep going a little bit?
Yeah.
Okay. I want you to think about creating an online course like crossing a river. One side represents your course idea, and the other side represents your completed course. There are stepping stones. These ones are not slippery, and they are a good size. Don't need to worry about falling in. You're going to use these stepping stones to help you to cross to the other side of the river. Sometimes you may need to hop back to a stepping stone that you were on before. There might be little pushes, pulls, and side steps to keep your balance. Creating an online course does not always follow a linear path. Ultimately, though, the lessons in this workbook are going to provide you with a fluid approach to successfully and with confidence cross the flowing river and create your online course.
Love it. Awesome. So, I mean, people are probably wondering, well, how are you going to, teach us anything in 18 minutes when you've got this whole book full of things? Like, how are you going to take something and deliver it in 18 minutes and not leave us hanging and actually leave us with a tactical, thing that we can do? We're not going to tell you that right now, but we'll promise you that we are. Right, ladies?
I promise you'll walk away with some really key actionable things that will help you to implement change and create or sort of adjust a learning experience that you have.
Yeah, and I know we all have in our books those things that we are repeating over and over again in our lives and businesses, and we want to encourage other fempreneurs to do the same. So I know we're going to be able to bring that kind of stuff to the table on January 20th at the FEMTALKS conference. Thank you for sharing that, Tiana. Shannon, do you have an excerpt ready that you can read?
Yeah, it's just from the start, so sink or swim. Our lives are full of defining moments. In March 2020, everything changed unexpectedly when the Government of Canada announced a lockdown. 18 years into my entrepreneurial journey, my business was deemed non-essential. This was a defining moment for me, being told how and if I was allowed to run my business. I never imagined the global pandemic would alter the course of my business and ultimately my life. Looking back, it's funny, the lockdown hit me harder than my bladder cancer diagnosis at 32 years old. Cancer was out of my control, simply the outcome of cell replication. I had to learn to put my faith in the doctors and treatments, whereas my business is my own creation, a dream come true. I nurtured and poured my heart and soul into every aspect of Shannon Designs. The success of my business was in my hands until the moment I was rendered helpless. I was afraid that the lockdown would result in losing everything I had built and sacrificed for. I allowed myself 24 hours to process the anger and grief before I pulled up my big girl pants and took action. What was the next step? I realized that I needed to pivot if I were to continue to serve my customers with new restrictions in place. I needed to learn how to market my business and myself. I recently had followed Lindsay Berry on Facebook and learned that her free Fempreneur marketing school about her course. Thanks to the pandemic, I no longer had the excuse of being too busy to learn about marketing. I realized at that point I had nothing to lose and everything to gain because I was committed to keeping my business alive.
And yeah, you've definitely done a great job of outlining those repeatable steps that we all need to take as business owners over and over again to keep solidifying not only to ourselves, but to our communities that we're here, our businesses are alive, this is what we do, this is how we do it, this is why it matters, like over and over and over again. And that's the power of social media. And that's what I'm gonna be talking about, is how to do that on social media, how to take those messages and really distill them down to the stuff that matters and deliver them in ways that don't feel like you're a broken record, that don't look like you're doing the same thing over and over again. Different things, like even different visual things. And I kind of think of this as similar in Shannon's business to the logo. It's like you know, you don't want to always wear the exact same pair of glasses. You want brand continuity, but you want the brand continuity to be that you always wear a different pair of glasses in your Instagram lives, you know, or like you wear a different color toque, or you know what I mean? Or for me, a bit of a brand thing, I'm sure you could all agree, is that I often walk outside with my dog and make my videos outside. And that's probably getting boring for you all, so I might have to come up with something else. I will be in Mexico quite a bit in the next couple of months. I might be doing some Mexico videos, so that'll be fun. But yeah, I love helping fempreneurs get over that feeling of heaviness when it comes to social media and help them realize they have things to talk about. But, you know, we have to know what our clear brand message is. And actually, Shannon's book does a fantastic job of distilling that. So it's a workbook. You guys have all created workbooks. These aren't just books that we read and then put down and think that was a fun journey and now I'm going on with my life. No, these are things that you'll revisit and repeat because they work, and they're going to help all of you who end up with these books in your hands at the end of the day on January 20th. Or if you just can't wait and you want to order one on Amazon right now, then you'll have another copy that you can give to someone else when you come, and they're going to help you in your business, guaranteed. And honestly, I mean, I would say it's 60% about who you hang out with and 40% about what you know. I really do feel that way. I think that the stuff we put in our books is valuable, but I think that if you don't, I know this, if you don't have the right team around you, if you're hanging out with people who have jobs and do the same thing every day and like their boss decides what they make and what they do, like they're good people. I'm not saying that you should ditch them. I'm just saying like you need to be around people that understand the entrepreneurial lifestyle and the mentality, and that there's just a whole bunch of stuff that you need to get from your community. And if you don't have the right community, you just can't get that stuff. So FemTalks on January 20th is not only going to connect you with these beautiful ladies here, but also all of the attendees. So we'd love to have you come and join us. There will be refreshments, door prizes, copies of all of these books we're talking about. For those of you who want to hang out after, we're going to do sort of like a happy hour thing at 4:35. We're going to leave the ATB Center. Hopefully it won't be minus 30 something. It'll be maybe minus 10. And we can just walk down the road to Blanco Cantina and we can, you know, maybe have a drink and something to eat together and get to know each other better, because again, it is important to have the right team. Does anyone have anything that they really, really wanted to share today? Perhaps a story, another excerpt from your book, anything at all?
I want to touch on the relationships and the people that you surround yourself with, because as a solo entrepreneur, most of us are solo. I know that was a big part of what I was missing in my business, and was that support from other people that get it. And finding the YYC Fempreneurs has given me a whole group of ladies, and there's constantly new ladies to meet, but that support network that I didn't have. And you know it's important, but until you have it and you're in it and you can reach out and others reach out to you, you don't realize how important it is and what an integral part of your personal growth, not just your business growth, but the relationships that you form and the people that you meet. And it just constantly expands your view and your horizon. And, you know, just having that support is, you can't put a dollar value on that. Like, it's just unbelievable. And that is one of, along with everything else that I'm constantly learning, that is one of my biggest blessings is the, you know, the community.
Right. Absolutely. Does anyone else have anything to add to that?
Sure. I know that all of us here today and anyone else that's in the Fempreneur group as well is, and this group isn't, so anybody who's listening who isn't in it, like we want you, we want to meet you, you want to be part of it. But I think it's so satisfying when we see someone create something, whether it's a book or their website, their swag, their logo, their course, whatever it is that we help guide them and support them in creating, when they see that and realize that they are legit, they're the real deal, like this is happening, and they really get some empowerment, some courage, some that their feeling of self-respect and self-worth just grows exponentially. And just to be a part of that is so inspiring. And I just love that we are able to help people to do that.
Yeah, I want you to brag a little bit, each of you, right now. And I want you to brag because I could not believe the feeling that I had after I'd written my first book, after that book was done and completed and out there into the world. I seriously, my confidence skyrocketed. My online presence through the process of that did, because I was really active on social media during the writing process. But like, I just want to know how you all feel now. Like, if you had known that you would, like, okay, I'm gonna stop talking. Can you just tell us like how you feel now, now that you're an author and you've written these books? Like, just explain it, and don't be afraid to brag. Tiana, will you go first?
Oh, well, I do feel very proud. So, you know, it's with so many things in the entrepreneurial journey, they start with that idea. And then you say it out loud, and then you say it out loud to a few more people, like beyond your, you know, close, safe circle, beyond your mom and your sister and your husband and those people. And it's a little bit scary. And you know, like, as everyone has said, like, the community piece is so key, because as you get more brave and you talk about it, then, as I had sort of mentioned before too, like, that accountability piece comes in. So, you know, in joining the group, and Shannon was a part of it with me, so we're saying out loud, like, we're committed to writing this book. And then, you know, Lindsay, you asked us to pick a date for when it would be shared out with the world. And it's scary because it's a vulnerable experience. You're sharing, you know, parts of yourself and kind of putting them out for other people to see. And you're making that commitment. So, yeah, I felt really proud, and it's exciting to see all my ideas in a book that is helpful to other people in taking their own ideas and making something and sharing it with the world too.
Awesome. Yeah, it feels really good to know that you know, if you got hit by a bus tomorrow, some of the most awesome things about you have been recorded. I'm kidding.
I hope.
I'm sure there's more awesome things about you than that, but you know what I mean. Like,
Yeah.
You've left a legacy now, you know. I think about that too. I'm like, if I die, everybody's fine. I got all my stuff written down somewhere, so they can keep gleaning from it. Shannon, do you want to share with us a little bit about how you feel different now that you're an author?
Yeah. You know, the writing process, I kept it pretty quiet, because even though I had the accountability of the group and everything, I was like, I don't know if I have this in me. Like, I don't know if I have enough, right? It was enough to put into a book. So I kept it quiet. Like, I didn't even tell my husband. So I was pretty, and then when certain posts went out on social media, my friends were like, what are you doing? And
Didn't he find out on social media that you were writing a book?
He did. And it was like, shit. He's like, hello? My husband works away 21 days at a time. So it wasn't that I was hiding. It just, he didn't see it and I didn't talk about it. Because I'm like, an author? Me? No. Like, so for me, it hit home when I got the first copy. When I saw my face on the book cover. So my husband knew by then, so I'd ordered in my copies. And I remember opening the box, and I remember thinking, oh, I should do an unboxing. And I'm like, yeah, no. I'm not going to record that. I should have. Yes, Lindsay, I should have. But when I saw my face and I pulled the book out and I held it in my hands and I went, oh my God, this is me. I did this. It didn't matter how many times Lindsay and I had gone through and edited and done this and done that, you know, that's easy. It was the seeing it and holding it in my hands, and I kind of went, holy crap, I did it. That's me. Everything I've written is in here. There's little stories about me. You know, that was my, oh boy, I did it. I really did it. And it wasn't, I'd never had a book brewing in my head. I never, you know, when I see these other women writing books, I'm like, oh my God, that's so amazing. That is so cool. Never, ever did I put myself in that category that I'm going to write a book one day. Never. So it was, yeah, that was my big wow, holding it in my hands. So yeah.
Yeah. And I remember when we were like, and I'm not like you in this way. I just put a book out there and then I don't pay attention. But you were looking on Amazon at the actual, you were tracking where people in the world were that were buying your book. And like, there's lots of people in the States.
Mm-hmm.
And like your book was making, you know, it was going to people that we definitely don't know, which is so cool. So people were finding it and it was really having that ripple effect, which was exciting too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure. What about you, Dina? How do you feel different now that you're an official author?
Well, it's pretty cool. All my life, I've wanted to write a book, but it just didn't seem like something that you just do. And, you know, what am I going to write on? And now I've got several books published, and I'll even walk in stores where they're there to be sold and think, oh yeah, I wrote a book. It hasn't even sunk in, to be honest. And maybe you guys can relate to that. I don't know when it's going to really hit me, or I'll hear somebody say, yeah, she wrote a book. I'm like, oh, I did. But I guess I'm really excited that I did, but I'm always guilty of doing that and not celebrating my wins or celebrating what it is. And even doing a book launch wasn't even on my radar. And Lindsay's like, well, we should do a book launch. Like some of you, I'm like, yeah, it's not my thing. I don't really need. But I honestly think that is going to be another nudge towards, you know what, we all have something to celebrate and something to be proud of.
Mm-hmm.
We put work and time, we sacrificed, we set boundaries where we maybe hadn't set them before because we feel like what we're creating was worthwhile to make a priority. And so it's an exercise for me for just doing it, being vulnerable, putting that out there, celebrating that accomplishment. I celebrate everybody else's. I've been to tons of the other book launches, but when it came to mine, it's just like, no, I did it. And I think it really comes across with that energy because there's a lot of people in my life don't even know I've written a book. And, you know, maybe I'm still kind of struggling with that owning up and saying that, you know, I've done this and I am an expert, you know, in something, in a few things, I guess, but
yeah, absolutely.
It's still sinking in for me. And I'm super excited that I've done it, but I've always been somebody, okay, did that, check, what's the next, right? Yeah. And for me, it's like a course and a podcast and and then I've got, you know, just slow down and celebrate. And for me, just knowing that, oh my God, I wrote a book. I'm an author. And I remember, you know, like Lindsay saying, okay, well, on your bio, you could say you're an author. Oh shit, yeah, I'm an author. I can. And that's really exciting that dream came true. And I remember going to the writing retreat that you had, Lindsay. That's a couple of years ago, and hearing things from other authors that was super inspiring. Hearing about KDP for the first time and going, what's KDP? Realizing that this is doable. This is something I can physically build and publish myself and put that out into the world, because there are some topics that I feel very strongly compelled to share. And I'm actually working on some compilation books to pull together people's voices and give them that opportunity. They don't have to write a whole book. If they have a story they want to share that's relevant to whatever book it is, I've got 3 of them that I'm getting stories for, then I want to help others share that voice. And honestly, I think I'm going to be most proud about that. I think that is where I'm really going to want to celebrate that compilation with all the people who've contributed and see how empowering it is for them to get their voice out there. And so, Lindsay, you know, what you've helped all of us do, you know, you must be so proud of us.
I'm so proud of you guys. Oh my gosh. Because I do know how hard it is. At the same time, it's very doable, but it is hard. And I think especially as a mom and someone who's been, you know, a people pleaser for years, it can be hard to just set aside the time to get it done, no matter how badly you want to get it done. And so I am so proud of you all, because I know the things you said no to. And, you know, even Noreen and Felicia wrote their books in 2021. And I remember them both saying, like, oh my God, it was so hard to say no. Like, Noreen's sister came to town one time, like unannounced, and just expected her sister to drop everything, I don't know, and like hang out with her or something like that. Maybe not quite to that degree. And Noreen normally would have been like, well, yeah, you're my sister, I love you, I want to hang out with you. And she's like, I have a writing retreat by myself planned this weekend. I can't not do it. I have to get this book done. And it was like, it's hard, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm so proud of you guys because really you're not putting yourself first. I mean, some can think of it that way, and I guess they'll get across the finish line. But for me, and I think because we're people pleasers at heart, we have to think about the people that need this book. We have to think about the impact we can have in their lives, because we won't do things for ourselves. Again, it's like self-worth issues or something, but we will do things for other people before we do them for ourselves. So if you have to rewire your brain to think, I have to do this for the 5 people that live in my town that need this book, maybe you can even put faces and names to those people because you've met them and they've asked you questions about this stuff. Whatever you need to do. And the first step for those of you watching who are wanting to come to FEMTALKS, I promise you, if a book is even remotely on your radar, you will have the confidence you need to write that book when you leave the FEMTALKS conference. And if nothing else, come there and absorb the amazing energy, make some connections that will be people that will hold you accountable and cheer you on. And I'm so looking forward to it. Thank you, ladies, so much for taking the time to share this. I'm excited to put this recording on the podcast. So yeah, I don't know, is there anything else that I forgot to mention? We did?
50% of the proceeds of ticket sales are going to support Mamas for Mamas in Calgary. I think that's massive.
That's massive. Yes. Truly, truly an opportunity to give back in every way, even to non-fempreneurs or fempreneurs who are, you know, in need. So I think that the Mamas for Mamas charity is just doing such fantastic work. And Tiana, you brought it to our attention, so thank you for that. And yeah, I'll be sure to tag them in this recording. And yeah, so support a good cause and meet some awesome ladies. And we can't wait to see you all on January 20th. All right, bye for now, ladies. Have a great day. Stay warm.
Have a good day.
We would be so grateful to have you share the FEMTALKS conference with other fempreneurs in the Calgary area. If you can forward this YouTube video if you're watching on YouTube, or send this podcast episode, or head over to Instagram and forward one of our FEMTALKS posts to any fempreneur you know, or even a woman, because sometimes we don't know if the women in our lives are going to start businesses. So let's assume every fempreneur, every woman is a fempreneur, and send them all the invite to the FEMTALKS conference. If you don't live in the Calgary area, don't worry, we're still going to send you some highlights, some video clips. We have a beautiful and amazingly talented videographer who's going to be there. So we're going to capture a lot of the magic for those of you who are not here in the Calgary area, and we're going to try to get it out to you on YouTube. Make sure you're subscribed to the email list. So go to YYCFempreneurs.com and get on the email list for sure. But if you're in the Calgary area, I want to see you on January 20th. All right, bye for now.